everybody and welcome back. I'm here for the third challenge for the Buzz into Spring collaboration that I'm doing with Natalie from Line.Arrow. As always, there are some freebies up for grabs. You can find my freebies in my Facebook group or on my Ko-fi page. I know sometimes people find it difficult downloading from Facebook, so they are on my Ko-fi page. Also for free, you just put in a 0 when it asks you for an amount. There are also freebies available in the other 4 Facebook groups that are supporting the collaboration, and I'll show you those in a moment. Natalie has also created some freebies, so if you go over to the Line.Arrow Facebook group, you'll be able to grab hers, and she's also done exclusive freebies for the other 4 Facebook groups. So there is going to be so much for you to play around with this week for the challenge. And the challenge this week is to make some kind of 3D flower, whether that's using paper or using fabrics, or perhaps a mix of both, which is what I'm going to do. So I'll show you the freebie pages first. So we have this page with a mix of different flowers. I've done them different colours and different sizes so that you can layer them up if you wish to. And then I've done a yellow butterfly in different sizes and a bee in different sizes as well. So again, that you might want to add those to your flowers. As with the main kit, these also come in black and white and sepia. Obviously with the black and white, it just gives you a slightly shaded version of the same flowers. And again in sepia, you can see those that were the darker colour. I then have them enlarged, so there are much bigger flowers. I thought these might be great for the front of a cover, or I'm doing an explosion box, so I'm going to be using my flower with my explosion box. And again, that comes in black and white and in sepia. I've also created a background page, so this could be used in your journal. So we've got some bee themed decoration around the outside, but then it's got lined paper. And again, that's available in black and white and in sepia. Now, as I said, I've also created pages for the other Facebook groups taking part. So in Two Sisters Jam, if you want to get your hands on this freebie, this is only available in Two Sisters Jam. So it's a file folder. I've used a couple of vintage images on either side. You can obviously add to them and decorate however you wish, but it's got that middle tab on this one. So that's in the Two Sister Jam Facebook group. Then in Haystack Crafty Corner, there's this envelope, which actually goes that way up, and then obviously you fold these over. But there's that envelope there. Then in Junk Journals, Tutorials and More, we've got this envelope, which is like a coin style envelope. That's that one. And then lastly, as you can see, an envelope theme. We've got this one for Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, again with those beautiful sort of bees and sunflowers and things in there as well. So those are the freebies that you can find, and they're exclusive just to those Facebook groups. Again, they are available in black and white and sepia. I just haven't printed off the black and white and sepia. But if you go over to those Facebook groups, you'll be able to get your hands on all of those. Right, let's get on with the challenge today. So as I said, it is to make a 3D paper flower. So I have gathered some bits. I did kind of make one as a prototype to kind of see how it would come together, and this is what I have. So I've used some cheesecloth, I've used some lace, I've even curled up the leaves a little bit so it's not so flat to the page. I've used a button for the centre, and then I've attached my butterfly on the top, and I thought this might be really great. I know this isn't my explosion box, this was my kind of prototype, but I thought this might be great to kind of go maybe on my lid or somewhere inside, just to again add something a little bit more interesting. If you're putting this inside your journal, you may not want to curl it up as much as I have, or perhaps not use a button for the centre, maybe do something else. But like I said, if it's on the outside, on the front of a cover, it should be okay. But that's my prototype. So I'm going to make another one. And to make these, I've used the larger version. So when I showed you the second page where you've got the larger flowers, that's what I'm making. So that's the yellow version. And then I've got these which have a more orangey tone. I've got my 2 bees cut out, and I did use my Cricut to cut all of this out. I'm not that good at fussy cutting, so my Cricut has cut all of these out for me. Because on this one I used a butterfly, I thought I'd use a bee on this one. So I do still have some inking to do, but I'm going to follow the similar pattern to this one. So I'm going to have my top flower, some cheesecloth underneath, then I'm going to have the slightly larger flower underneath that. That's going to have a lacy ring kind of going around behind it. And then I've got my large flower with, again, some cheesecloth on the bottom. Instead of a wooden button, I've got this kind of tortoiseshell, this tortoiseshell style button, which will go on top, and then I'll add my bee. I'm not sure which size bee yet. I'll kind of have a play around once it's all put together. So I'm just going to switch my hot glue gun on. I've got it just to the side of me. I did hot glue this. You can of course sew. I was debating whether I wanted to sew, but then I just thought actually I could hot glue it. I know it's all going to be stable then, and it is really solid now. So I am going to use my hot glue. So while that's warming up, I'm going to ink. Now for this one, because normally I would use Vintage Photo, but I'm going to use Ground Espresso because it is very dark. It's almost black. So I think the colour of that will go better with the kit. So I'm just going to go around the tips of the flowers. I'm not too fussed about getting in every single nook and cranny, but it just kind of separates it a little bit from the flower that's behind. So that's the first one. Then obviously we've got the cheesecloth. Then we've got this one. And when I was doing this one, I actually forgot to ink, and I'd already kind of glued my lace onto the back, so that made it really awkward trying to ink it up. So I'm glad I've learnt my lesson. And just going around the edges. So like I said, just doing the tips. I'm not too fussed about getting in all the nooks and crannies too much. Okay, so that's the next one. That's going to have the lace behind it. And then the last one, okay, there we go. So as well as my video, Natalie is going to have her video out as well, so make sure you go and check hers out. As soon as hers is available, I will link it down below so that you can see that one. Now all I did next was just kind of curl my petals up, and all I did is, as you used to do with the scissors with ribbon, I'm just kind of using my thumbnail to just curve up the petals. Doesn't have to be too much, but just to kind of give it a bit more of a 3D effect. So something like that. I'm going to do the same for this one. So like I said, it doesn't have to be too much. And then the final one, okay, like that. So what I did first was I put this on. So I'm going to, and I have cut two, it is too long. I don't want it sticking out too much behind, because otherwise you then cover up the flower behind. So it's literally just going to kind of be poking through the petals on the back. So I'm just going to do it bit by bit. Hopefully my glue gun's all warmed up now, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a blob there and start sticking this down. Obviously being very careful with my fingers because it's hot. And just checking. Yep, so as you can see, it's just kind of poking through the petals. It's not coming out too much. And I'm just going to continue going round. And the nice thing about this lace is it is kind of curved anyway, so I'm not having to force it round into a circle too much. last bit just goes around there, and I'm just going to glue that last little bit down. Like I said, I did cut it a little bit, ouch, longer. Oops. So that is how it looks. Okay, so that's the second layer. I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I start trying to push it down and curl up the leaf, not the leaves, the petals again. Just going to get rid of some of those trails of glue. Okay, and then this layer is literally going to be glued down to that, so I don't need to do too much with that one. So we're going to start with the bottom. I'm not doing the cheesecloth yet, I do that right at the end. So I've got the largest flower, and then this one is obviously going to go on top. So I'm just, again, just bending those leaves, I keep saying leaves, petals. And then that's going to go on there. So again, I'm going to use my hot glue gun. You can of course use whatever your glue of choice is, but I like this because it's quick, it's easy, and it dries nice and fast as well. And it just gives it a bit of dimension because it's obviously quite a thick, chunky glue. It just lifts it up a little bit more. Okay, so there's that one. Then we're going to have some cheesecloth put down. So again, a little blob of glue. Pop the cheesecloth. I'm not going to press it in because obviously it's going to ooze through onto my fingers and that's going to hurt. So I'm going to do it like that. As you can see, this comes together nice and quick and easy. I think the longest part was actually cutting everything out. Even having my Cricut cut it out, I think was the longest part. Right, just so it's not quite so white on the back, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a inking on the bottom. Like I said, it doesn't have to be much because it is going to get stuck down, so you're not really going to see the bottom. So I'm not too fussed that it doesn't look completely covered. I just don't want it stark white if you do kind of see some of the petals on the other side. Okay, then I'm going to put a blob of glue, and that's going to be for my cheesecloth on the back. Okay, something like that. Now I'm going to keep it upside down for a minute just so that glue can dry, because it does kind of seep through, as you can see, onto the mat. So I'm just going to leave it upside down for a second. While I'm doing that, I'm going to add a little bit of ink to my bees. Now that's how good my Cricut is. It's cut out all of those little legs and the little antennae and everything. So I'm just going to give him a teeny tiny ink. If that was me cutting out by hand, he would have lost his legs and his antennae, because there is no way that I would have been cutting all those out. Okay, so there's my bees. And actually I might do the same in that, just on the back of the wings. Just going to brown them a little bit. Okay, something like that. Right, let's spin that over. Again, I'm just going to lift up some of those petals. Okay. So that's how it's looking. Now you don't obviously have to add a button on the front, you could just go straight ahead, pop your bee in and be done, but I just thought again it adds a bit of dimension. And on this one I did put a little bit of sort of string through it, kind of ropey string, so I'm going to go and grab that because I might do that again on this one. Okay, so before I used this one, which is a little bit tricky, and I did have the problem on there, that it's great, but every now and then you kind of get, and it's supposed to be part of it, but it is like knotted. So obviously trying to then thread it through the button, you can't then get further than that because of the knot in it. So I might try first to see if I can use this. This might be too thick as well, but we'll see. So I'm going to try and thread it in through the back. Oh no, this one's okay actually. So I did try using this one on the other button, but the holes were too small. This one's got wider holes, which helps. Okay, that's good, that's fine. So I'm going to snip this. Tie a little knot in the back. And then going to snip it a bit more because obviously it's far too long. I mean, you could add beads and all sorts to this. I, again, have not done that and I don't intend to do that. So I'm just going to pop a blob of glue on there. And then just carefully push this one into place. Okay, so that's that button in place. I mean, and they do look pretty enough just like that. You don't necessarily have to add your bees and your butterflies, but I just really liked adding those on. So I've got that bee, or I've got my larger one. I mean, I could have my large one to the edge and my little one in the middle. Could use them both, but I feel that it kind of gets lost out there because we've obviously got all the white of the lace and the fabric. So do we want the little one or do we want the big one? Just going to fold back these a little bit. I think I might go for the larger bee on this one actually. So I'm putting a big blob of glue just on the edge of that button and then sticking my bee down. And I'm going to give him just a minute to dry before I start fiddling, so I can switch off my glue gun now because that's all done. So these are my two flowers. I really love how they have turned out. Of course, you do not have to use fabric. You could just have the paper flowers and layer them up. But I think that these look really, really cool, and I really like the kind of shabbiness of all of the cheesecloth and the lace in there as well. I really like this bee on top. I think this is the one I'm going to use on my explosion box. I really hope that you've enjoyed this challenge and that you're going to give this a go. Don't forget to check out Nathalie's video. She will also have freebies available, so you can get to see what freebies she has. I imagine she's doing something absolutely stunning and amazing for her flowers as well. So if you want more inspiration, head over to her. I have got the design team listed below as well. Go and check those ladies out. They're doing incredible things with the Buzz Into Spring kit. So again, if you're after some more inspiration of how to use these digitals, that is an excellent place to start. Please remember that when you are posting make sure you're using the hashtag #BuzzIntoSpring. The more Facebook groups that you post in that are in the collaboration, the more chances you have of winning something at the end of the month when we do our prize draws. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.